Okay, so here we are, another week of YouTube live streaming. Looks like we are all up and running because Felix has joined, as has David. I've got many more windows open today. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be kind of going through in today's topic. It may get a little bit messy because this is a topic which I've just decided in the past day or two to discuss based on some conversations had earlier in the week. So it may kind of jump back and forth, but hopefully everyone will learn from this this little chat that we're going to have. So I'll probably just talk for a few minutes to let people kind of join the stream. If you're watching the replay, you can always just skip ahead to where we start talking about it. But I suppose what I could do is just kind of have a little, why did I decide to do this live stream about NFTs today? Well, it kind of stems back to a little conversation that was had in the Rocket Brand Discord on Tuesday, I think it was. And let's see if I can bring that up, actually. Let's see if we can... where are we at? So, let's see. Oh, that's I've got this little disclaimer here. This stream is not financial advice because we're talking about NFTs and cryptocurrency. I don't want anyone taking anything that I say in this stream as financial advice. Do not use me as a financial advisor. I am just giving you my experiences of my journey in this space. Very much do your own research. So I just had that little disclaimer there that may pop up every now and again throughout the stream. But basically in the, let's see, I've got a lot of windows open here. So let's jump over to the Rocky Brand Discord. So I think it was a couple of days ago, and I think it was Henry in the Discord had posted, let's see, how long ago was it? Yeah, so here we go. So I think Henry had posted up that he was going to be doing a presentation at his work, and most of the other people who were going to be doing talks were going to be talking about NFTs and cryptocurrency, and he'd mentioned that his part of his piece was going to be about brand, and branding, and I think he said he felt maybe let's just see here that he maybe felt like it was a little bit antiquated based on everyone else talking about NFTs and new technology and stuff. But what I was quick to say is that the NFT space is like any other. It's kind of NFT projects are just that, they're projects, and they're trying to sell something. They're trying to sell NFTs to you, and whether that be a solo artist or a larger project, and we'll kind of discuss these differences as we go through. They still need to be branded. They still need designers. They still need a strategy. So brand and brand strategy is still at the core of all of this stuff. And so I just started to type. You can see this big wall of text here, where I started to type out a little bit about my my experiences of being in the space, and there's a little bit of conversation there, and then I posted some more information, and people said they found it interesting, and so we decided, I just decided, well, let's do a YouTube live stream on it. Let's pass on the information and the knowledge that I've gained over the past little while, and it might be useful for you to pick up on, especially if you don't know much about NFTs and the NFT space. But as I say, this is based on my own experiences. Don't take any of what I say as financial advice for investing into NFTs. You will want to do your own research into specific projects and things. So I have some notes all put together for myself in Illustrator as usual. I just drop everything into an Illustrator document, and this is really just to kind of keep me on some semblance of an order to things today, because it kind of, it might be easy for me to get a little bit lost and jump back and forward. So I just want to say hi to Mark for joining. Hey Nushka, you've joined at the start of a stream and not kind of coming at the end, which is great. David's asking how I'm feeling. I'm feeling better. I have had in between the last live stream and this live stream, I managed to catch that virus which has been going around the world, the one which is the main one which has been in the news. I don't want to say it because YouTube's a bit funny about saying the name of that thing, and it can flag up videos and stuff, so I'm not going to mention it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So I was ill for a bit, and I'm back now, so back in time for the live stream. So let's just jump in then and sort of tell my little tale of NFTs. So back in maybe January 2021, and by the way, if anyone's got any questions, hey Jeff, hi from Canada, Jeff's in Canada, hi from Scotland, back in January 2021, I dipped my toe into cryptocurrency for the first time. I had some savings that wasn't really doing anything in the bank. The interest rate in the bank was whatever, 0.00001%, so it wasn't making any money. It was just sitting there, not doing anything. And I had a choice, a couple of decisions that I could do. I could, move the money into an ISA savings account, or I could maybe move it into a pension scheme, or, whatever. And I did a lot of my own research and was looking around and looking into cryptocurrencies. And yes, there was a bit of FOMO, there's the fear of missing out, because it was, cryptocurrency was getting talked about a lot, and it was doing quite well, and everything was going up, and we all know that everything can't go up forever, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency or stocks and shares. It has to come down again, so you have to be careful about those things and do a lot of your own research. But anyway, long story short, I decided that I was willing to put some of my money into cryptocurrency. But one thing I will say as well, and this goes for NFTs, you should not really be investing money. And it's funny when they say, don't invest money that you're not willing to lose. Okay? Now, nobody wants to lose any money, but you definitely don't want to be putting money into something like cryptocurrency or stocks and shares or NFTs, where there is, it's highly volatile. It's a very volatile space. And so, you could invest all of your money, and then, you invest it at a value today, but then tomorrow, if the whole market drops, then you're in negative, so you've lost money, and you'd have to wait it out and hope that, things go back up high again. So that's sort of my first piece of advice, is don't invest anything into those spaces that you rely on for buying food, paying your rent, all of that stuff. It should be money that if the worst came to the worst and everything collapsed and you lost it, you're not going to be left destitute. Okay, so that's what I would say about that. So I had some. So I thought, well, I've got some money and I'm willing to kind of put it into a high risk environment. And there's two things with high risk environments. There's high reward, but there's also a high risk of loss as well. So you have to be prepared for that. So when I invested in January 2021, it was I'd say a pretty decent time to invest in cryptocurrency, because it went up. It kept going up, I think, until sort of maybe, I can't remember, maybe March or April, and it went up quite a lot. And I made, my investment was rising, and a lot of people started investing into cryptocurrency when it was at its peak at that point in the market, and then it just went off of a cliff. It was really high, and then it just, over the next couple of days, it just dropped. And a lot of people who invested at that point lost money. Thankfully for me, when it did drop, it didn't drop to below the amount where I'd actually invested in the first place. So it actually dropped all the way down to where it met my investment. I think I actually lost maybe like a tiny percentage, but I was pretty much breaking even. So I was okay, but many people weren't. But I'd invested into cryptocurrency with the mindset of this is a 10-year investment. I'm just going to put the money in and I'm just going to leave it. And I'm just going to let it ride. And I have a lot, for me, after all the research I did in cryptocurrency, it's here to stay, and I know that there's all of the things that you see in the news about the amount of energy that cryptocurrency uses up and all the downsides of it, but I'd kind of been looking into it, and I invested in the Ethereum cryptocurrency. So you've got the main ones like Bitcoin. Everyone kind of knows that. I have a little bit of Bitcoin, but I put most of my investment into Ethereum because I thought Ethereum had some good utility and usage that it could use, and I knew that they were working on a way to bring down the energy usage for transactions, and they haven't quite done that yet. It's still in the pipeline, but it's on its way. So anyway, come sort of September 2021, and the market had kind of gone back up again. So it had kind of gone down and it had gone back up again. And I was hearing more and more about NFTs. And I was really, really curious. I'm a big tech geek and I love new technologies and new things. And I was really, really interested in NFTs. And so I decided that I would, I dipped my toe earlier in the year into cryptocurrency and survived and then, made a little bit of profit on the investment. And so I decided that what I would do is I would use the profit that I'd made on my cryptocurrency or some of it to dip my toe into buying NFTs. And so for me, this wasn't I wasn't taking more money from my bank account. This was money that I'd made through investing in cryptocurrency. So I thought, well, yeah, I'm willing to take that profit and I'm willing to risk that in this space. So it's all about risk. There's a ton of risk when it comes to it. And so, yeah, I think it was late September, early October. I started kind of looking around, and it is a really complex process getting into NFTs. I mean, it's a bit easier getting into cryptocurrency, but what you need to do is to buy cryptocurrency, you need to have a crypto wallet. And with a crypto wallet, what that does is that allows you to buy the different kinds of, and there's like hundreds of different cryptocurrencies, but there are the main ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But you need a wallet. You can't have the cryptocurrency sitting in your bank account. You have to have a cryptocurrency wallet. One of the most popular ones is called Metamask. But you also have cryptocurrency exchanges, places like Coinbase. Let me just bring up my web browser here. Not keep turning that disclaimer thing on again. So let me just bring up my web browser. So this here is the website for Metamask. So as you can see here, it says it's a crypto wallet and a gateway to blockchain apps. So blockchain apps can be, NFTs and things like that. So you can have that wallet on your smartphone, and MetaMask also has an extension that can run in the Google Chrome browser. So you can access and you can interface with the different applications and stuff directly through your browser. What you do when you set these up is you set up a random, what's known as a seed phrase. So when you create it, it gives you a series of words. I think MetaMask is 20 words, just random words, and that's your seed phrase. And that's basically your security key. If you lose that, you lose access to your wallet. So if you create a crypto wallet and you get your seed phrase, you should never store that online anywhere where an account could potentially get hacked and someone could access your seed phrase. You should write it down on a piece of paper, and you should then store that somewhere safe and secure, because that's the access to your money. There are many stories of people who have lost their seed phrase and they've forgotten their so your wallet will have a login as well. So you'll have your login password, but with your seed phrase, it means if you lost your login password to your wallet, for example, your Metamask wallet, the Metamask wallet is really just an interface to your account. And the seed phrase is the key to your account. So if you lost your password to get into your Metamask wallet, what you can do is you can actually set up another Metamask wallet, and it will ask you for your seed phrase. And when you put your seed phrase in, it will bring your account back. So you've got access to all of your cryptocurrency and your NFTs there. And this is where, there's lots of stuff to take in here. So like I say, Metamask is one of the most common. There are other digital wallets that you can use. Metamask is what's called a hot wallet. So it's online, so it's accessible online, which means there are risks to that. It could get hacked. And one way that you can get hacked is if you click on a link, to maybe, let's say you're going to maybe buy an NFT and you find the link for it and you click on the link. When you click on the link, you need to approve access to your wallet so that you can buy and sell. But there are many instances of people being scammed into clicking on fake links. And when they've clicked on the fake link, they've given a scammer access to their wallet. And then the scammer has basically just emptied out their wallet and disappeared with their money. And because that's the thing about, the cryptocurrency space and the NFT space is the anonymity. You don't know who is buying and selling at times, and so when someone disappears or hacks your wallet and takes your money, the chances of you getting that back are slim to none. So you have to be very, very careful. So that's one of the dangers of having what's called a hot wallet and having one which is online. The other option that you can have is what's known as a cold storage wallet. And so let me just see if I can bring up my webcam. So this is my webcam, which is a little bit better in terms of focus than my main camera. So this here is a cold storage wallet. So it's a hardware. It's essentially a hard drive. And what I've done is I've moved my cryptocurrency accounts onto this. And in order for me to approve a transaction, I have to hold down and press two buttons on this to approve the transaction. So I have to manually approve it. So even if someone got access to my Metamask wallet, they wouldn't be able to initiate any transactions because I have to manually approve it here. If someone initiates a transaction on my Metamask wallet, what happens is on the ledger, it will come up and say, here is the transaction, do you want to approve it? And I can just deny that approval. And then what I would do is I would go and change my access and all my security to the Metamask wallet. So this is the safest way to deal with things, is to have a cold storage wallet. The same as Metamask, when you set this up, you will be given a seed phrase. So let's say I've got my seed phrase all safely stored away and I lose this, or someone steals this. In order to get into this, I have a passcode. So they would need to know the passcode to this as well. But even so, even if they got the passcode and got in, they would still need the seed phrase. They would still need to kind of approve stuff. So what I can do is I can buy another one of these, use my seed phrase, and set up a new one, and it will pull all of my cryptocurrency stuff into here. Just checking the chat here, and David's saying, do you use a VPN for this stuff? I know zilch about NFTs, but a secure VPN would be a good idea, I guess. I don't really know much about VPNs. I know that VPNs are there to mask your IP address. I don't think that's going to play into your MetaMask wallet and stuff. That's more about hiding your identity in terms of, websites tracking you, and, maybe being able to kind of spoof so that you want to access Netflix movies from the US, but you're in the UK. You can use a VPN to pretend that you're in New York or something. That my knowledge on VPNs is next to nothing. So I don't know. You'd maybe have to look into that. From my experience of how I buy and sell NFTs and cryptocurrency, I'm not sure how a VPN would help protect me, really, because you're still just using your MetaMask wallet, and really the only way that you can lose money is if someone gets access to your wallet, and that's through giving them either your login details and your seed phrase, which you should never do. No one in the world will ask you for, or should ask you for, your seed phrase. You are the only person in the world that should know your seed phrase. So if anyone ever asked you for your seed phrase, they're trying to scam you. Only you should know your seed phrase, and the only time you should be asked for it is when you're setting up, you're having to redo your wallet, and you will know that that's the right time to do that. So everything I've talked about there is seems pretty it's all about getting scammed, and things are difficult to set up, and I had to go through all of this, and I find I'm pretty tech savvy. But, it's pretty scary when you're, it's not scary setting up the wallets. The scary part is when you make your first sort of purchase, when you first buy cryptocurrency, or you first have to move, you're moving maybe cryptocurrency from one type. So maybe I want to change some Ethereum into Bitcoin, and I need to move it to different wallet addresses. That can be a tense time whilst you're waiting on that transaction moving, because you need to make sure that you're sending it to the right wallet address. But it's like anything. It's just take your time with it. Don't rush. There are lots of places out there that will show you how to set things up, how to buy money. So Coinbase, which I mentioned, Coinbase is one of the biggest sites probably in the world for buying and selling cryptocurrencies. Again, it's an app that will run on your phone, and you can have a wallet. You can have a Coinbase wallet as well. I've actually got quite a few wallets on here from different platforms, and they all have their own seed phrases. So you got to keep them all in a safe place, and not lose them. And this is this is where the gateway can be difficult for people who want to get into this space, especially if you're not really technologically comfortable. It can be a tough point of entry, and that's why NFTs right now are still, in the scheme of things, quite small in the number of people that are in the space, because of that, the hurdles that you have to get over, setting up a cryptocurrency wallet, buying cryptocurrency, and then when it gets to the NFT stage, then using that cryptocurrency to buy NFTs, knowing how to where the NFTs go, and buying and selling of those NFTs as well. So yeah, so you have things like Coinbase. So you can create an account on Coinbase, and then you can basically connect Coinbase to your bank account, and you can buy and sell cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency is what you need in order to buy NFTs. There are some sites where you can buy NFTs in what's known as fiat. So fiat money is things like the US dollar, the British pound, currency that you're used to buying, the euro, that's fiat. fiat money. And then you've got, crypto. There are some places where you can buy NFTs for dollars, but in the main, you're going to be using cryptocurrency like Ethereum. So Ethereum is the main sort of currency for NFTs, but you can buy NFTs on other cryptocurrency blockchains. So probably the two main ones are Ethereum and Solana. So they're just like, so I just think of that like, US dollars and British pounds or the euro. They're just different currencies, and you can buy NFTs using those different currencies, but they're different platforms, different blockchains. And another one which I'm involved in quite heavily is one from crypto.com. Crypto.com have been doing quite a high marketing offensive recently. They had some advertising during the last Super Bowl in the US, and I think they've just become sponsors of the UEFA Cup, so football or soccer, and so they're spending a lot of money to raise awareness of their currency, their cryptocurrency, which is known as the CRO, CRO, and they have their own NFT space as well. So they have their own platform. So Ethereum, Solana, and Crypto.com's space as well. So there's all these different places where you can go to, different cryptocurrencies that you can use to buy NFTs. So you can see there's I'm talking a lot about cryptocurrency before I've even kind of shown any platforms for NFTs, because it's important that you understand that you need cryptocurrency in order to do that. But that's where Crypto.com are trying to be. They're a little bit different in that you can let's see if I go to Crypto.com. Yeah, so here's Crypto.com's NFT page, and they've got all these different collections of NFTs, and if we click on Loaded Lions is sort of one of their biggest ones right now. You can see here someone's looking to sell their Loaded Lion for $5 million. So you can see here all of these prices are in dollars, and they're not small sums of money, and I think that's where most of the headlines come in with NFTs are, people paying stupid money for a JPEG image, for an illustration. Why are people paying crazy amounts of money for a JPEG? And the argument that you'll hear from some people is, I could just take a screenshot of that and then I own it too. That's not technically true. Yes, you have a screenshot of it, but that's not how NFTs kind of work in terms of their value. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about where the value kind of comes in with NFTs. But as I say, here, you're able to buy and sell these in dollars, but on most NFTs, you're probably going to be looking at Ethereum or Solana. The other platform, more confusion. So Crypto.com have another platform, it's known as a DeFi, decentralized finance platform, where it uses Kronos coin, and I've actually got some NFTs in that space, and that uses a wallet of its own, and you use the cryptocurrency CRO for that. So yeah, it's all. I'm trying to keep this as clear and concise as possible, and it's proving difficult because there is so much to it. This would be like a day-long workshop trying to learn how to do this, but I'm just trying to give an overview of how this works. But essentially, let's just jump into, you've set up your wallet, you've got your cryptocurrency, you're ready to buy some NFTs. So where do you go to buy the NFTs? Well, there are places, and I suppose you could probably think of it like eBay, but for NFTs. And the biggest market for NFTs by far is a site called OpenSea. And it's OpenSea.io if you want to go and have a look yourself. And OpenSea is by far the biggest marketplace. It just is. A lot of people kind of jokingly call it Broken Sea because a lot of the time it doesn't work, and it can be really problematic. But it is the main one right now. There are competitors coming up who are, as always happens in spaces, someone is first, and then you'll have people who come and iterate on things and make things a little bit better. But right now, OpenSea is by far the biggest one. I think I had some stats somewhere in one of these windows. No, it's not that one. Anyway, I had some information, and I think OpenSea was worth something like $13 billion or something, or it did $13 billion in transactions or something like that. But there's a lot of money going around in NFTs, and I think it said that in 2021, the average NFT transaction, the value of it was about $2,500. So that's the average for buying and selling of NFTs. But if you want to buy an NFT, what you would do is you would open up OpenSea, you connect your wallet. So up here, you can see here that I've got the Metamask. It's actually not showing the Metamask, which is probably a good security thing. But to be honest, up here, I've got a little icon, which is my Metamask extension. And I connect that to OpenSea. And you can see here, I've got my profile. And if I click on my profile, you can see some of the NFTs that I have. And so let's kind of talk about my journey into my first experiences of buying NFTs. So these two little NFTs down here are just silly little things, little 3D looking toy things. And I think they were something like $25 each. And I used those as a test to check out the buying process. How easy is it to buy, to buy these things? And the reason I bought these ones is it was actually Ian Paget from Logo Geek. If any of you, use Logo Geek, then, Ian had been getting into the NFT space as well. I think he was collecting Doctor Who NFTs, so digital cards and stuff. So he was collecting those, and he'd actually been communicating with the guy that makes these. And Ian had said, "Oh, there's this guy, and he's making these sort of digital toy-looking things, and they're very inexpensive. So if you want to, buy one or two of those, then you can do, to test it all out." So I did that, and the process was pretty straightforward. Basically, what you do is I found one which I wanted. I click on it. Someone already owns this one, and they're not selling it right now. So the only way to get this one would be to make them an offer. So you can click on make an offer. Again, the same as same as eBay. I can click on make an offer, and then I can say, hey, I'm willing to pay this much for the NFT that you have, and then they can decide whether they want to accept that or not. If it was listed for sale, then there would be a buy now button here, and I could buy that NFT. So fairly straightforward in terms of buying and selling an NFT off of OpenSea. Let me just check here. David's saying, so OpenSea is the most popular, but it breaks down a lot. Is it run by Adobe? It probably doesn't break down as much as Adobe, to be honest. But there are just times where it can get slow. It can get slow at times when you're trying to do stuff. So that's buying an NFT off of OpenSea. So this is OpenSea is what's known as a secondary market. And by that, what I mean is that, so there's NFTs there that people already own, and they're, looking to sell them, and so you can buy them. Another way to get an NFT is by minting an NFT. So a bit like, you use the phrase when they mint money and they create a coin, they create a piece of money. You mint an NFT. And the way that's done is, you'll find a new NFT project is about to launch, and if you get involved early enough, you can be one of the first people to mint an NFT in that project. And pretty much every NFT project has a limited number of NFTs. So it's a finite volume. It might be 10,000, it might be 5,000. And that's where, sort of scarcity comes in with things. Trying to explain this is quite difficult without going through the process. Hey Lagovka, hey Kansas, how you doing? I'm struggling here to simplify the process of buying an NFT. But you would basically, when they, so let's go to an example. Let's go to this website here. So this is a website that I'm heavily involved with this project, and I'll talk about that. I can talk about that a bit later if we've got time. So I'm just going to slow myself down so that I, make sense to everyone here. OpenSea, secondary market. You can buy and sell NFTs that people already own. When you mint an NFT, the NFT doesn't exist yet. There are two types of NFTs in the main. You will have NFTs which are known as one-of-ones. So there's only one of them. So it might be like an artist creates a painting, a digital painting, or photography, or a piece of music. And they turn that into an NFT, and there's only one of them, and and one piece of artwork, and they've created that by hand, and that's let's call it an art piece. The other side to NFTs, and the side that a lot of people will have seen sort of in the news and stuff, are what's known as generative collections. And the way those work is that there will be sort of a base model will be designed, will be created. So looking at this site here, so let's sort of, you can see here, we've got this white base here. And then if we look at the images on the rest of it, it's the same white, so it's the same sort of basic shape, but what it has is you've got different things in the hand, different colors, different things around the neck, and those are called traits. Now, what happens is an artist or a designer will create the base level, and then they'll create all of the different traits. And there could be hundreds of different traits. And then what happens is that all gets put into a computer program, essentially, and that computer program creates versions by mixing different traits together and different colors together, and makes all of the collection. The key thing here is that every one of the NFTs is different. So there's no two NFTs the same. They may be fairly close. So you may have one which is the same color, has the same hat on, has the same necklace, but maybe one of them is wearing sunglasses and one of them isn't. And so you can have collections that are, 10,000, and a computer has generated that from the different traits that you can have. Some of those NFTs that are generated, maybe only one of them has sunglasses. And so you then start moving into a rarity scale. And it's a bit like anything, even in the let's call it the real world. It's a bit like, collecting things in the real world. So scarcity generally means that people will pay more for something because there are less of them. So let's talk about, if you talk about comic books, for example, Amazing Fantasy number 15, I think it was, which was the first appearance of Spider-Man. There's not many of those around, and so people are willing to pay a lot of money to be the owner of that because it's very rare. it's kind of the same in the NFT space. Some people will pay a lot of money to get the more rare NFTs in a collection, and they buy and sell based on that rarity. Whereas the one of one art, obviously, it's one of one. So it's the artist has created a painting and they're trying to sell it, as a single piece. The interesting thing is that the NFT space was kind of set up more for artists. It gives artists more control. So the way that they have that control is that when you turn your piece of art into an NFT, when you mint it as an NFT, it ends up on the blockchain, and you have what's known as and I may be getting some of this wrong. This is just sort of my knowledge on this, but it's controlled. Your NFT is sort of connected to a smart contract. So there's a piece of code that's created by a developer. It's a smart contract that's linked to that NFT. And what you can do is, as the creator of that smart contract, of that that minting that NFT, you can say, okay, every time this, so let's say I mint the NFT for, let's say, $100. Okay, so I mint that NFT for $100. That $100 will go to whoever set up the mint. Okay, but then let's say someone comes to me and says, hey, Col, I love that NFT that you've minted. I'll give you $1,000 for that NFT. And I'm like, yeah, cool. That's like 10 times what I paid for it. And I'm only here to make money. So yeah, I'll sell that to you. If that was, let's come back into the real world. The way it tends to work in the real world is that if I was the artist and I sell my painting to someone for $100, if that person then sells that painting on to someone else for $1,000, the artist doesn't get any of that. All the artist has got is the first $100. And that's it. But with an NFT and the smart contract, you can write into the contract that every time that NFT is sold on, the artist gets 10% of whatever that's sold on for. So it's a way for artists to always be rewarded. So if they become, if their work suddenly becomes really collectible and valuable, they are going to make money as well. So they'll make, if someone sells it for $1,000 and they've got written into the smart contract that they get 10%, they will make another $100. But if that person then sells it on for $10,000, the artist will then get $1,000. They will get 10% every time that NFT is sold on. And that's, really one of the benefits to NFTs for artists who, and when I say artist, any sort of creative, you can create any sort of digital piece, music, video, graphics, photography. You can digitize your painting. So you could do a real painting, with paint and brush, and then take a photograph of it and then turn that into an NFT, into a digital version of that painting. And some artists actually, if you buy the digital NFT, they will send you the real painting as well. So you have the digital asset of it, and you actually have the physical asset too. Just checking there's no questions. So that's really what, that was the power of NFTs in terms of, artists being able to still be rewarded for their work being sold on. But the way that the NFT space has kind of gone, because you still have all the artists and stuff there, that they're all still there, but the sort of the hype of the NFT space has landed more in the generative things, like I talk about, where someone creates all of these different traits and then a computer program puts them together and creates a 10,000 piece collection. Now, when that that collection is created and it's in the background, it's hidden. No one knows, so there's NFTs number 1 all the way through to 10,000, and they're all randomized. So I could go and click. Now I know that this is actually, this project here no longer has a mint. It's the term is minted out. All the mints have gone, so the only way you can buy one of these NFTs now is on the secondary market. If I click on mint, I can mint 1 or I can mint 10. Really, it depends on the limit that the project has set. Some projects only let you mint 3, so that as many people as possible can get access to them. And some have no limit at all. So anyone that has a lot of money can mint as many as they want. But when you mint it, you depends on where you are in the sort of the queue. When you click mint and then you approve the transaction in your wallet, so that you're like, right, yep, I'm going to spend some money and I'm going to mint an NFT, you will get one of those randomly generated NFTs. And really it is down to luck whether you get a rare one or you maybe get something which has, a really unusual trait that, may become collectible down the line. And the way those sort of generative NFTs started, the value of those really was in the way that many people think about NFTs. And that is, you're paying money to generate a JPEG image, just a graphic. And people would use them as their profile pictures on Twitter and stuff like that. And then the value would come in from the rarity. So, there are websites. So let's go to... some of these websites. So there are websites like Rarity Sniper where you can put in the name of an NFT collection and it will show you, which numbers are in the collection are the rarest. And so when you're looking, you're like, oh, I want to get the most rare one in that collection, and you can see if it's up for sale. If it's not up for sale, you can find who owns it and then make them an offer. And that's how it worked. And that's how it still works, because that's the nature of human beings. Human beings are just, collectors, and they want some, and many of them want the rarest of things, and they will pay silly money to get the rarest of things, just like they would in the real world. They'll pay silly money. Now people say that NFTs are a scam in a way that, it's money laundering, and, people can, launder money by, paying stupid sums for these JPEGs, and then, the money's kind of locked away and stuff. I'm not sure how money laundering works, but that's what people say about that. And so rarity is a big thing in terms of the NFT space, and it's where, a lot of people see the value in NFTs. If we take a look at one of the most famous sort of NFTs, I think the very first NFT generative collection were the CryptoPunks, and they are very expensive to get. And because they were the first ever sort of generative NFT, they hold value in that respect. So many people want to be owners of the very first NFT like that. The next sort of famous one is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And just to give you an idea of the sort of money that's involved in this, the cheapest, so there's 10,000 of these. There's 10,000 of these apes. And you can see here, they've all kind of got the same base layer of ape, but then they have different eyes. They've got different glasses. One they've got tongue sticking out. And it seems insane, but the lowest price you can buy one of these right now is for 111 Ethereum. One Ethereum right now is valued at £2,500, which is probably about $3,000. So, $2,500 multiplied by 111. That's the cheapest that you can buy one of these for. Why? Why are people paying that much money for a JPEG? I'm just going to check the chat here. And I'm just checking the chat here, and Dickensius has put a good point here, is that, so 111 Ethereum for the cheapest one, but many of the people who own these minted them. So they were the first person to own it. And when they minted it, I don't know what the mint fee was, but I think Dickensius has put 0.08 Ethereum. So that, that works out about £200. So when they minted this ape, it was £200. Now it's worth over £250,000, which is just crazy. It's crazy. How you get to that, how you go from £200 to that sort of amount of money. I sometimes struggle to get my head around it, but it's really around community. So that's what I'm finding about the NFT space, is each project starts to build up its own community. And with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, again, they were quite early in the space. It took them a long time to actually build up. It didn't go from minting at 200 to suddenly being worth, not even thousands. It took a long time and traction. But they started to build up community, and then they started to introduce benefits. So holding one of these NFTs, you became part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club membership. And that, and there's only 10,000, so it's a quite, when you think globally, that's an exclusive membership. And then they started to reward the members with different benefits. And these benefits, the benefits in NFT projects can range from many things. It could be could be that you get a cap or a hoodie, or it could be access to special events in real life. Lots and lots of different, anything you can think of, that any, sort of normal membership would have, an NFT membership could have as well. And as these, communities start to grow and, again, like in the real world, there are some real exclusive communities that people want to get into, and people start to network, and, they start to tell one another about it, and more people want in. That's when the value of the NFT, that's when the value of this silly looking ape JPEG starts to become valuable, because that JPEG is the membership. That's what gets you in. It's a digital membership card, essentially, to that community. And so, unlike, if you have a membership, for a library or whatever, you can't really sell a lot of memberships in the real world. The membership is yours, and it's non-transferable, and if you don't want to use it, you don't use it, but you can very rarely can you sell them on to someone else. But in the NFT space, you can, because the way that the NFT works is it's in your wallet and it's linked to the blockchain. And the blockchain is like a ledger, and it says, this is who owns this NFT. And you can't fake it. It's always there, and you can check, see who owns things. And so that makes the buying and selling of NFTs simple, and it transfers the ownership really easily from wallet to wallet. And so an example of using an NFT, it could be like on a website. So let's say the Bored Ape Yacht Club have a website, and they have a special members only area. And what you need to do to get into that area is you need to connect your Metamask wallet. The website will then look at your Metamask wallet to see if you own one of these NFTs. And if you do, it will give you access to that website. If you don't, then it won't let you into the website. And so if I had one of these Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, I could sell it to someone else. It would be in their wallet. They'd then be able to get access to that area of the website, and I wouldn't, because I'd sold it, and it knows that it's now left my wallet. And so you can kind of see how, as communities grow and they become more exclusive and they start to offer more rewards to their members, people will start paying more to get access to that exclusive group. And we're now at the floor price of 111 Ethereum, and that's because Bored Ape Yacht Club have a lot of owners who are famous people. Celebrities own them, very rich business people own them. And so if you're in the Bored Ape Yacht Club community, you've got access now to all of these people, because you're a Bored Ape owner as well. And so it's community, and it just drives the price. And I know a few people in the different projects who are owners of Bored Apes that did mint them, and they're just they haven't sold them yet. And the reason, and it's a crazy amount of money. So you'd be like, why haven't you sold it? And that's because the access that they have to the people in the community is worth an awful lot. So if they're maybe thinking about starting up their own business or whatever, they can just go and speak to a lot of these other Bored Apes who are very wealthy, successful business people. And because they're a Bored Ape too, they're probably going to get time with them because they're part of that community. So the value that's there, depending on what your goals are in life. For some people, it's not worth selling it at 111 Ethereum. They'd rather hold on to it and just have it as an investment. But it's crazy money. It hits the headlines. There was one of the headlines was there's a guy called Beeple, and Beeple did. He was well known for doing like a digital kind of creative digital art piece every single day for like a year or whatever. I don't know how long he did it for. But he hit the news when he sold an NFT, which basically had all of his pieces of art in, one collection, and it sold for something like $70 million, $70 million, which is just crazy money. It's crazy money. I mean, people pay that for, old masters, like Da Vinci paintings and stuff like that. And here is a piece of digital art, a JPEG, that sold for $70 million. And there's no community around that. That's a one-off piece of art. And that's obviously gone to someone who has more money than sense, but wants to be the owner of that piece of art. Now, that's an example of where you could take a screenshot of it and you could have it and you could print it out and have it on your wall or whatever and say, well, I've got it too. But the owner of that is on the blockchain. He's the registered owner of it. And so that may, as the owner of that probably opens doors to other places. He can prove that they are the owner of it. All of us could take screenshots of anything on my screen today, but it doesn't make you the owner of it. You own that screenshot, you don't own it. You have it on your there, but you're not the verified owner of it. And I know that some people will just think this is nonsense, and I understand that opinion. But as someone who has now been in this space for a little while and has seen how these communities that are built around the projects work, I absolutely understand where the values are in a lot of these projects. Now, there are thousands of NFT projects and thousands of them don't go anywhere. They just fail. Because what happens is when a project starts, so let's again take a look at this one here. So this one, the Troopers, I know the people in this project because I was involved, my second ever NFT project, which was an Ethereum one, I bought into, and I lost quite a bit of money in it because the whole project just failed for many different reasons. And I was silly and I didn't do enough research and I didn't really kind of look into it too much. I got caught up in the whole hype of the whole thing. And in the end, the team that were kind of running that project, essentially, I think they just got bored. Stuff just got too difficult for them to do, and they just disappeared. And that just then meant that my investment wasn't part of a community that was going to build and go anywhere. And so the NFTs that I'd minted were essentially just worthless JPEGs. And that was a hard lesson to learn. And I don't want to lose any money. Like I say, I put money into this that was the profits that I'd made from my cryptocurrency, but it was still money that I'd lost. I have actually made that money back through other NFT projects and other NFT communities where I've been able to buy and sell the NFTs that I've minted around communities that are doing good things, and so I've been able to kind of make my money back. But one of the things that attracted me to Troopers was that this project was started up by people that I had got to know through the project, which failed. And a few of the guys came together from that project and decided that they were going to start their own project, and they were going to start a project that was going to help people who were new to the space, new to NFTs, to try to help them avoid the pain that we'd all just gone through in losing money. And so we can see here that they've got this mission to clean up the NFT and Web3 space by creating an army of honest, trustworthy, and dependable soldiers who will protect you, support you, and safely guide you through your NFT journey. Whenever you see Troopers, we know you've got your back. And so they had this roadmap, and most projects, NFT projects, will have a roadmap. And that's what they are basically saying. If you mint one of our NFTs, here is what we will deliver for you. Here's what we will use the money that we will make to do. Many NFTs will make charitable donations, which is great, but people are investing money and they want to see a return on their investment. When they're in here, for some people, the investment is or the return of investment is really just being part of a community. They're not really looking to make any monetary gain, but I would say a large majority are in the NFT space to make an investment and to see a monetary return on that investment. So looking at a roadmap of a project, you can see whether that's something that you're interested in. You're like, oh yeah, I like where they're going with this. That this interests me. I'm willing to find out a bit more. And pretty much every single project will have a Discord community. And so the Discord community for this one is here, and this is Troopers. And I'm actually involved in this project as a moderator, and I've been helping them by creating logos for the projects and also graphics, infographics to help them get across information. I've been creating little videos, little kind of helpful videos on how to connect your wallet, how to buy cryptocurrency, where can you find your NFTs once you've bought one or minted one, and so we're trying to make things clearer for people. Another project which I'm in, and I'm also a moderator in this one, has an NFT 101 channel, where you can kind of, when you join, go in on the project, join their Discord, you can kind of go through, and there's a lot of great information here: how to set up a MetaMask wallet, how to fund it, how to, purchasing your first piece of cryptocurrency, how to send that currency from Coinbase to your MetaMask wallet. You can also buy cryptocurrency directly in your MetaMask, but some people prefer to buy it on a coin exchange and then send it. I would sort of say, if you are going to get into this space, you shouldn't keep all of your money in your MetaMask wallet, just in case it got, it was accessed for whatever reason. You don't want to have all of your money in there. You want to keep your money elsewhere. and then, you know, how to mint an NFT, how to purchase on an exchange. So there's a lot of really great information here. So as the space grows, people are becoming more aware of the different scams that can happen. And like I mentioned earlier on, it's a very anonymous space. You know, you don't know who the people are who've set these projects up. So there's a certain amount of trust. There's a lot of trust that needs to be built up. That when the mint finishes and 10,000 people have just spent 200 pounds, that they're not just going to go, thanks very much, goodbye. And that happens a lot. You know, I won't pretend it doesn't. It happens a lot, and it's called either a cash grab or a rug pull, where the founder, they've just pulled the rug out from under everyone and run off with their money. Now, there is actually a case happening right now in the USA where two people who did that are actually, they're going to it's going to court for fraud, and so, you know, they face a long prison term if they get found guilty. And to be honest, they probably will, because the evidence is pretty clear against them. Because I think they've tried to do it a couple of times. They did it once, and then they had another kind of scam in the works. And the way that these scams work is that they build up a ton of hype. They use lots of marketing. They get everybody hyped up and like, oh, I don't want to miss out on this. Oh, there's only going to be 3,000, and people don't want to miss out. And then they get, their kind of sensible thinking goes out the window, and they just get caught up in all of the hype. And then they mint this NFT, and then they get nothing for it. They're just left with that JPEG image that's not, they can't, they could try and sell it, but why would anyone buy it? Because there's no community behind it. There's no utility. It's not going to be doing anything. So there is a bit of that. And so you do need to do your research. And so what's the way that things are changing now? And this is the thing with it, is that the NFT space is developing and changing and all the time. It moves like 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, I got involved in September. It's been about 6 months. Feels like 10 years. I've learned so much, and I've got involved in so much stuff here. That, just everything that I'm having to learn, all the kind of the hurdles to get over, learning through mistakes. It's the same as in my sort of design career, and learning to run a business. You just make these mistakes, and it's a new area, and that's why we need projects like the Troopers, and the other one that I'd shown you the Discord for is this one here, which is called the Ether Brews. You need projects like that are run by founders who actually care. And what the founders of both Troopers and Ether Brews have done is there's a thing that they've done called doxing. And basically doxing is giving people your identity, saying who you are, showing them who you are, telling them your name. And by doing that, by telling people who you are, what your name is, what you look like, the chances that you're going to, pull the rug out from under everyone is much more, is a lot slimmer, because everyone now knows who you are. And if you were to do that, then they could come after you. And there's a lot of crazy people in the world, so you wouldn't want that to happen. So I know that when I'm looking to invest in an NFT project, the first thing that I look for is whether the founders have doxed themselves, and I can see exactly who they are. I can learn about them. What's their history? What are they involved in? What's their experience? Can they deliver? Can they deliver this roadmap that they're promising me? If I invest in this project, can they deliver on all of the things that they say that they're going to do? So talking about, roadmaps and delivering. So Ether Brews, the reason I got involved in this one is it was about beer. Big fan of beer. But I liked what they had in their roadmap. And Again, they're involved with a couple of charities, so they've made some big charitable donations. But also one of the things as well with this project is normally what you would get with an NFT is a flat JPEG, just a static image, whether it be an illustration or a 3D, model, but it would just be a static image. Ether brews are a first of their kind in this space, in that when you mint your NFT, you can actually see your NFT in 360-degree space, and you can kind of zoom in, and that was new for the space. And in this space, in this kind of tech area, being the first at something can hold a lot of value. It wasn't really why I got involved in it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I've actually, Duncan, who's the founder of this project, actually sent me the 3D file for one of my my NFT. I'll see if I can get it actually. Over here. So my NFT. Let's see if I can bring up the webcam. So this is actually a 3D model print of my Ether brew. I've not painted it yet, so it's just in red resin. But yeah, it's I think my so this one, so that's this one. Let's see, web. So this one here over on the right is this. And I was able to 3D print that, so I made a real physical version of it. I wouldn't have been able to do that if it was just a flat JPEG, but that was one of the differences for that. So I suppose you could call that a part of some utility. But the main thing that Duncan wanted to do with the funds that came through the minting was to create partnerships with breweries all over the world. And so he would basically, make these connections with breweries, and anyone that held an Ether Brew NFT would get access to perks and benefits from the breweries that would partner up with Ether Brews. And I know that Duncan's in talks with some pretty big breweries in the USA just now, and I think one in Australia. I'm obviously looking forward to him doing some in the UK and Europe. They're a little bit closer to me. But that really interested me in the initial sort of phase one of the roadmap. And then, we're now into sort of phase two, and then we'll be going into phase three. So every project will have its own roadmap that will speak and be of interest to, different types of people. So that was what I liked about the Ether Brews one. Was it was it was a real life kind of partnership thing, something that I could get. I could get access to beer, tours of breweries, merchandise, and things like that. And the community that's built around this is fantastic as well. So I've now made friends. Okay, that it's online, but I think this project kicked off sort of mid-December, and I got involved early January. So it's only been, 3 months, but it feels a lot longer, and I've got to know a lot of the people in the community. We've had video chats, we've been on Twitter Spaces, really got to know them really, really well. And I can say the same for the Troopers community as well. Gotten really well with them. As I say, I'm doing design work for both Troopers and Ether Brews. An example of some of the work actually is just things like this, graphics that to help stop scammers if you're in one of their discords. So one of the ways that scammers will get you to click on links and get access to your wallet is that they will send you a direct message in Discord pretending to be somebody from the project and say, hey, we've got this special secret NFT mint happening, here's a link to it, and they'll try to get you to click on that link, and if you click on the link and authorize your wallet, then you're giving them access to your wallet. So creating graphics like this to say, we will never send you a direct message. So if you do get one, it's not real, and you should report it. So I did one for Troopers, and then I did another branded one for Ether Brews. So it's the same information, but just branding them up in the different projects, and kind of looking at it from that perspective. I just want to check chat here. Mark saying the evolution is fascinating. It's great to get a practical explanation of how all this is developing. I hope I am making sense. I'm so aware that I'm throwing so much information at you. And like I say, you could do this over a couple of days. There's so much information. I'm just trying to give a really just a quick overview of what the space is like. Simon's asking, so if this has been asked, how did you find these clients? So when you say clients, Simon, are you talking about like these projects, Ether Brews and Troopers? Is that what you mean? I know that the stream sort of, when I'm talking, I'm ahead of the chat, so I'll wait to see what Simon says. Yeah, okay, so they're not actually, I suppose technically they are clients, but really I'm doing the work to help the project. If I can help the projects, I'm looking at my webcam, I should be looking at the main camera. By helping out the projects and helping them raise awareness and get more people in, then that actually helps my kind of investment in the project as well. A bit like, I would love for my investments to get to sort of Bored Ape Yacht Club types of, 100th type of thing. I think that's, unlikely to happen. But I believe in what these projects are trying to do, and they're trying to benefit the space and help people. And so I'm willing to give my time. Now, what I will say is that, my time is unpaid, really. I might get a couple of NFTs here and there from the project, which are can have value, but they'll only be as valuable as how successful the project is and how much people would be willing to pay if I sold them on. But it was more about just, I have a skill and an expertise, and you find that in the communities. As the communities grow, the communities are made up from people from all walks of life. And they all want to, many of them will say, hey, I've got, my skill is in marketing, or, I know people in, there's a guy in Ether Brews community, and he's quite high up in one of the largest breweries in the UK. And so what he's doing is he's actually speaking to the kind of like the board of directors of this big brewery and connecting them with Duncan at Ether Brews and starting conversations. So it's, and that's what I was saying about the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's the connections that you can make in these communities that can actually be valuable, more so than the actual NFT itself. But technically, I suppose, Simon, they are clients in a way, in that I'm doing design work for them, but I don't think of them as like a normal client of mine. I decided off my own back that I would give my time, I would dedicate some of my time to these projects in order to help them grow, in order to help them just look a little bit more polished, a little bit more professional, simplify the information, because as we know from what I've talked about today, there's a lot of information that you have to learn. And so if I can help create infographics that, simplify down key messages that someone can look at and go, I get it. Okay, so I have to do this, then this. Then that's beneficial to the project. That gives the project a really good reputation as being helpful and supportive in the space to people who are new to the space. And that can only ever be a good thing. In terms of how did I find, so let's talk about how did I find the project. So as I mentioned, I found Troopers because I was in the same project, and that first project that failed, I found out about that through Twitter. I was doing searches on Twitter for NFT projects, new NFT projects. I was just using hashtags, NFT hashtags, and the project came up. I really liked the look of it, got involved in it, got caught up in all the hype. It failed. I lost money, but then got to know a few of the guys really well, and a few of the guys decided, well, we're going to start our own NFT project. Would you like to kind of come and help us with that? And I was like, yeah, I would love to, especially when we decided that we were going to have these sort of 5 pillars that we would live by, which were, to basically help people, be aware, give, connect, and just show people the right way around the Web3 space. And I was like, yeah, that really speaks to me. It's very similar to kind of what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. It's just about giving and sharing the knowledge that you have so that people don't have to suffer some of the pitfalls that I've been through on my design journey. Same in the NFT space. If we can stop people from being experiencing rug pulls or being scammed, then that's got to be worth giving time. So joined these guys and helped them set this up, and it was actually one of the guys from this project who had been speaking to Duncan, who was starting the Ether Brews project, and this guy from Troopers knew that I like beer, and he's like, I think you might find this NFT project interesting. And so he told me about it, and then I went and looked and got to know this project and just started helping out that project as well. And then as far as all of the other things that I have, so you can see here I've got a few Ether Brews NFTs here, and I've got a mix of different things that I've dipped my toe in the water that I like the idea of. But this one here, and the weird thing is as well, it's like, they've all got different sort of aesthetics, shall we say. So we've got the Bored Apes, we've got the Troopers, we've got Ether Brews, and then I've got this one here, and these guys are called the Crypto Hippos. Okay, so they try to attract you by artwork and stuff as well, but what interested me about investing in the Crypto Hippos was their roadmap and their utility. And I hadn't really seen anything like that. And it was sort of an in real life, real world utility. So what these guys are doing, let's see, have I got their website? Yeah, so I've got their website here. What these guys are doing is when the people who are minting their NFTs, they're using that money to buy real estate. So they're buying property. And then what they're doing is they're turning those properties into Airbnbs. And then the revenue that's generated by the Airbnbs gets shared out between everyone who owns the NFTs. So, and the way it works is if you have, so if there's 10,000 NFTs, each NFT will get you 1/10,000th of a share of the profit. If you own 2 NFTs, then you will get 2/10,000ths or whatever it works out. Now it sounds like small amounts of money, but if the project grows and it invests in property and it becomes successful, then I probably spent maybe in real money sort of £300 in that. I can see this working. It's the team behind. I looked into the team behind it. They've got experience. They know what they're doing, and I could really see how this could work. Now, you also have other things ongoing all the time. Projects run raffles all the time. So if you hold, one of their NFTs, you get entered into raffles, and you could win Ethereum. You could win more NFTs. You could win other prizes. An example of that is last night, Troopers ran a raffle for anyone who had one of their NFTs that had a cigar, and the prizes in that were two sets of AirPod Pros, whiskey, and cigars. So you can have some fun fun times with it, some fun raffles, fun games where you can win things. So it really is building up a community, a vibrant community where people hang out in the Discord space, talk about all sorts of things. They have, things in common. We've got people from all walks of life who have various hobbies in common, and they'll start talking about that. People start to meet up in real life. They start to form, real friendships and things, and just like a lot of, other memberships. But the difference being here is that, you can sell your membership for whatever someone's willing to pay for it. And, if you've got one of the rare NFTs, then you can maybe sell your membership for more money than if your NFT maybe wasn't as rare. It depends on if someone's looking for, that combination of being part of the community, plus they're really interested in getting one of the more rare NFTs, as opposed to, joining the community and they don't really care what NFT they get. They just need one in order to be part of the community. Let's see. So Mark's saying it's a bit like a Kickstarter model at times. It's yeah. There are similarities to a Kickstarter model. You're kind of putting trust that they're going. You're going to invest, and you hope that you get the project mints out and they get all of the funds that they need in order to initiate the roadmap and take things forward. So there is that's why it's high risk. It's it's like anything in stocks and shares. It may work, it may not work, and that's why I'll say again, do not put money into NFTs that you're not willing to lose. You might see, I'm talking about Bored Ape Yacht Club, 111th, people spending £200 to mint it, and then it's, a year later it's worth £250,000. It's so rare that happens, but people see this money and just jump in with their life savings, and then they can't pay their rent the next month because the project they thought was going to be the next big thing actually fell flat on its face, and now they don't have any money and they've lost all of their investment. So, you need to be super sensible about this stuff. Don't invest anything that you're not willing to lose. Esteban's saying, today YouTube did not give me any notice and I have the all bell checked. YouTube is terrible at notifying people. I'm trying to get a bit better at posting on Twitter, on all of my accounts during the day. I definitely post in Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord yet, and you do want to be, make sure you get notified, join the Discord, and also just join the Discord anyway, because it's a great place to hang out. I added some music bots yesterday and today. So we've got one that just plays chill music in the background. If you want to join that channel, you can just have some chill music on whilst you're working. And I have another one which is a request bot. So you can actually type in what songs you want it to play, and it'll play your playlist. But we talk about design, and we give feedback on one another's work and stuff. So it's a great place to be. So yeah, you should kind of join that. And Simon's saying it's all about the utility. I would love to start my own, but need something to offer. Yeah, it is. That's what people want. It's moved beyond just being what's the rarest of the collection that I can buy, which one's got the cool sunglasses and the hat, and that's what people will pay for. People want more than that now. They want utility. They want to know what are you going to do? How are you planning to make this project work so that, my investment becomes more valuable? And like I say, that value can be different things for different people, which is why projects are, doing lots of having different rewards, different approaches. So the crypto hippos are doing, the property. Ether Brews are doing partnerships with breweries. Troopers are doing it purely through the community. So yes, they have part of the roadmap is giving to charities, but they're also what we've developed is again to protect everyone, one of the biggest things that happens in the NFT space is trading. So yes, you can buy and sell NFTs on OpenSea, but some people just like to trade NFTs. So a bit like, people collecting baseball cards and, Magic the Gathering cards. They'll be like, hey, I'd love to have that card. Would you be willing to trade it for any of the cards that I have? The same happens in the NFT space, but again, it's about trust. So, I could strike up a deal with someone and say, hey, I will swap my Trooper NFT for your Crypto Hippo NFT. And we're like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And the way that works is trust. And the trust is, if I send you my NFT from my wallet to your wallet, I have to trust that you're going to send me your NFT to my wallet. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it just goes one way and someone loses out. So at Troopers, the developer for Troopers has created an application, and we've called it Safe Swaps. And what that will do is, if you decide that you want to do a swap with someone, what you can do is you both upload, or you connect your wallets to Safe Swaps, and there's a small fee involved to do this. But if you have a Troopers NFT, there is no fee. So that's one of the benefits to being a Trooper, is that, when you connect, Safe Swaps will look at your wallet and go, oh, you're a Trooper. There's no fee involved for you. But if you're not in the Troopers community, there will be a small fee. So it allows anyone in any project to swap NFTs. And you would basically say, hey, I'm going to initiate the transaction and say, I want to swap this NFT. The person on the other side will upload their NFT and they will approve the transaction, and then Safe Swaps will move the NFTs. So Safe Swaps kind of acts like a middleman and kind of holds the NFTs so that both sides are approving it. So let's say I initiate. If the person on the other end doesn't approve that transaction, the NFT doesn't leave my wallet. And so I'll know that, something was up and, they were dodgy and they were basically just going to scam me out of my NFT. So that's something that Troopers are involved in. And if you are in the Troopers community, obviously Safe Swaps is going to generate currency. Every time someone uses it and they pay the fee, then people who are in the Troopers community will get a share of the fees that's made from that. So they will receive that back as a share in cryptocurrency based on how many NFTs they hold. So there's lots of different ways that projects can bring value to you. And what I'm just trying to get across, that it's not, NFTs are not what you see in the mainstream media about, it's just a JPEG, I can take a screenshot of it, look, I own it too. It's not that at all. It's about the utility. It's about what do you get. It's a membership to a club of sorts, and that club has benefits. If you take a screenshot of my NFT, you don't get access to the club or the benefits. All you have is a screenshot of my NFT. Do what you want with it. And and like I say, you can't even, the communities access your wallet to make sure that you are the owner. So it's not like you just walk up to the door of a nightclub and say, there's my ID, and they're like, oh yeah, that looks like our NFT, and you come. There's a security search that's done on your wallet to see that you are the actual owner of that NFT. So it's a little bit more complex than just taking a screenshot of an NFT. Simon's asking if I've seen the Heart project. I haven't. I don't know. It might ring a bell, but I haven't. Oh, hey Ross, how you doing? Hope you're feeling a bit better. Ross was not feeling very well earlier on. Ross said, I just realised I can chat in here on my phone while playing the stream on my telly. How very 2022 of you, Ross. Um, uh, that's awesome. Thanks for coming in. Ross is actually a fairly new NFT or a new entrant to the NFT space. Ross got involved in his first project and he minted a couple of NFTs, or I think he minted one and then he bought one off the secondary market. And the project that he's involved in is a project that was started by an artist slash designer that Ross really loves his work. And this guy has created a project that's going to be a game. So the NFTs will actually be characters in the game, and you can upgrade your NFT character with different traits and stuff, so they're more powerful in the game. I think that's how it works, Ross. You can tell me if I'm right or not. Yeah, so Ross has got involved in that as well. And Ross got involved a little bit in cryptocurrency after I got involved in it. And unfortunately for Ross, Ross bought in at the high, and then it kind of went down a little bit. But he didn't invest stupid money, so it was all good. So when he started, when I was banging on about NFTs, and there was an NFT at the time that I'd bought. I'd minted an NFT at the time, and for a very, very short amount of time, the way that project worked is with that NFT, you generated tokens, and those tokens could actually be exchanged for Ethereum. They could be exchanged for real, proper cryptocurrency. And for a couple of days, my NFT, would generate about $750 worth of Ethereum in a day. And that was with one of those NFTs. There were some people who'd minted like 10, 20, 50 of those NFTs, and they were making, crazy money over those first few days. But that wasn't sustainable. That kind of died, but it caused a huge amount of hype around that project. And the NFT that I'd minted, I think I paid 0.07 or something. Again, it's something like £200. But after about, I think it was about a week, my NFT went up to 10 Ethereum. That's like almost life-changing money for me. And so I was like, well, I'm not selling. I'm going to hold it. This is going to keep going. But it's dropped back down again because the that whole hype around all of that kind of died off, and it's kind of leveled out. But the roadmap for that project, this is actually, I'll see if I've got that. That project here is this one, which is Lizards. So this one's called Cold-Blooded Creeps. And the roadmap for these guys is they want to build a global brand based around this NFT. They've got some famous people who own the NFTs in this project. I think my NFT is currently sitting at around 4 Ethereum in value, which is nothing to be sniffed at. That's a lot of money. So for me, that's an investment that has paid off. There are many that don't. But this is one of the ones which did. It's a solid team behind it. They're actually the team that are running this are Bored Ape Yacht Club owners as well. So they've they've brought that level of experience in the space with them, and they're a really solid team, really great community. And I can see this really going quite far. I minted this in January. So again, we're early days into this, and there's all sorts of different gamification stuff that goes on with this. So I've got my Lizard American Express card, and that yields me points, and I can use the points in different elements to the game. Which improves the NFT and adds more traits to NFTs. I'll also be creating 2 brand new NFTs within the project, which will become something that I could sell. And so if the project, continues to develop, and the NFTs continue to grow in value, then I'll basically be creating extra NFTs that I can sell. So this project here is sort of one of the and I found this project through one of the guys from Troopers who said, hey, I found this project, it looks really interesting. And actually it was the same guy that told me about Ether Brews. And so I took a punt on it. And the reason I took a punt on it was because I just loved the website. I loved everything about it. I thought it was really well made. I thought everything looked really promising. Looked into who the owners of the project were, was satisfied that they knew what they were doing, and just, decided to mint one of their NFTs. Obviously, now looking back, I wished I'd minted 10 of their NFTs, but that's the thing, hindsight is 2020. But there are many sort of projects where, I've minted and the value of the NFT is less than what I've minted it for. So, with those projects, I'm basically holding on to them in the hopes that, given enough time, the roadmaps will develop and the NFTs will start to build in value as more people want to get involved in the community as part of the roadmap for that. But yeah, NFTs, I wouldn't, there are people who buy NFTs to flip them. So what they do is they will find new projects that haven't minted yet. They will mint into those projects, and then they will instantly, as soon as they've minted the NFT, they will instantly put it up for sale. So let's say they mint it for 0.5, just as a number. If they mint it for 0.5, they will instantly list it for like 0.7 or 0.8, because the projects have a very finite amount and not everyone is going to be able to mint it. There are many people who would be willing to pay just a little bit more than the mint price in order to get into the project. And so these people who mint and then flip, they're making sort of 0.2 Ethereum on each of those things. And it's about, those small gains. If they're doing that all the time, those small gains start to add up, which means that they then can go and start to buy more expensive NFTs off the secondary market, put them up for sale. So they might buy an NFT which is 1 ETH, put up for sale for 1.5 ETH. They've instantly made like over £1,000. They then take that profit and then they buy another one. So it's like day trading, but they do it with NFTs. And some people are very successful at that, and that's all they do. So they have the time to research projects, look at the founders, make sure that they're minting into something which is going to, it's going to have a lot of hype around it, and they make money that way. It's not something that I do. When I'm getting involved in the projects, I'm getting involved in the projects for the longer term, because I like their roadmap and I want to see where the project's going to go. So that being said, let's see what's here. Ross is saying, I think it's fair to say that there are a lot of pretty gross crypto bro money scams, but there are some real genuine projects out there. There's a lot of kind of dollar bill y'all sort of activity out there. It's all about the swagger, and it can get pretty gross. When you see some people and they're flaunting how much ETH they have and stuff like that, but that's not really the circles that I hang around in those spaces. And you can catch those people, you can sniff them out as soon as they appear on the scene. What is slightly depressing is when so a lot of projects, as I say, they have Discord communities, but they also Twitter is also a big space for NFT projects. They tend to have a lot of activity on Twitter. I actually created a separate Twitter account purely for interacting with NFT projects, because I didn't want my Pixels Call account to suddenly be spamming out, all these NFT posts and stuff, and people just being like, what's this? Why is all of this nonsense on your feed? So I've actually created a separate Twitter account for that, for my NFT interactions, and they use Twitter Spaces quite a lot. So they have a lot of Ask Me Anything spaces where you can go on and the founders will be there, and the founders get asked some pretty tough and hard questions from the audience members, because these people are potentially going to be investing money and they want to know some cold hard truths about what their plans are. How are they going to achieve these things? Is it something that they can do? And there are quite a few people in the NFT space who are very young. And when I say very young, I'm talking 14, 15 years old, who are millionaires through NFTs. They've landed in the right NFT projects, and I don't know where they've had the money from. I didn't have that kind of money, even to mint an NFT, £150 to mint an NFT. And then they've landed in projects that have done really well, and they've been buying and flipping, and they're millionaires, and they're like 15 years old. Again, I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do. They are very rare, but when as a soon-to-be 48-year-old guy sitting in a Twitter space who's like, I wonder what this is, and I really need to get back to doing my logo work so I can, invoice some clients so I can pay my bills. And then a 15-year-old comes in and they're like, I've just sold another NFT for $50,000, and you're just like, okay, good for you. It's a crazy world. I do think I'm technically minded, and I have found my way around this space. But there are kids out there who are just on it, and they know what they're doing. I'm just kind of checking through these tabs to make sure that I've kind of covered the stuff that I wanted to cover. This is actually the website for the hardware wallet, the Nano. One thing I'll say as well, just another heads up here, is sorry, I've got a blocked nose. Sorry if I keep sniffing and stuff. If you're going to buy a hardware wallet, only ever buy a hardware wallet from the actual manufacturer's website. Nowhere else. Don't buy it from Amazon. 100% don't buy it from eBay. And the reason for that is that you cannot guarantee that it's an unused, unhacked ledger. If you buy one of these secondhand, you don't know what's been put into this, that can, see what your, seed phrase is, see what your password is, and then they have access. They then put that into another ledger, and they've got access to all your stuff, and they change the passwords, and you can't get back in. Only ever buy a hardware wallet from the actual manufacturer site. Don't even trust Amazon. Even though they'll say it's a new thing, like it's not been used, it's not refurbished or anything. You don't know where Amazon have got their stock from. You must always buy it from the manufacturer's website. I just needed to say that, because there are so many stories of people that have bought them sort of from other places, and then they've had their accounts hacked because there's been other chips and stuff put inside the hardware. And people are willing to take the time to do that because there are serious amounts of money going around in cryptocurrency and NFTs, that it's worthwhile them taking the time to do that. Let's see. Ross saying, problem is when people are on the outside of it and they only see the headlines about pyramid schemes and such. Yeah, that's it. Fife's joined as well. Fife's asking, are NFTs more about the community aspect of projects than the actual art itself? Yes and no. So like I said at the start, there's kind of two sides to NFTs. You have the side where you have artists. So artists selling their artwork as NFTs, photography, music, designs, that is about the art. That is about eye of the beholder. I love that piece of artwork you've created. I'm going to, pay for that NFT. I want to own that, that digital piece of art. I want to support you as an artist. And that's, a lot of people will do that. The community, and artists can build community around themselves as well. But generally, the community side builds around the larger projects, the generative ones, the ones like, Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Cold-Blooded Creeps, the Crypto Hippos. Those generally are more community based. And I just want to quickly check some of the, because I got asked some questions in the YouTube channel earlier today by I hope I pronounce your name right. I think it's Kaushal. And Kaushal had some questions for me around NFTs. Some of them I can answer, and some of them I'm not too sure on what the answer is. So his first question, well, let me just double check the chat just in case anyone's asked the same question here. Dickens has said, "Oh, flippers, scalpers, more like." And then Ross is answering Five saying he thinks it depends. Some could well be about that, which is just what I've said. So Ross has kind of said what I said there. So Kaushal is asked, so his first question was, what is the psychology of a buyer buying an NFT? I don't know if I could, answer that psychology. I mean, I only know my own psychology. For me, it was sheer curiosity and wanting to, know more and feeling that the only way to know more was to get involved and, experience it. And boy, have I experienced it, the highs and the lows. I've lost money, I've made a bit of money, I've experienced scams, rug pulls, all of it. But for me, that's almost in the minority compared to the friendships and the communities that I've become part of. And that's been huge for me. There is an element in the NFT space of people who are known as degens, so the degenerates in the space, the ones who are just willing to take risks everywhere. And so I would say there is a psychological element of the degen, those really high risk, high reward people who are just willing to go in there and just be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's, and some of them have, it's paid off. That degen attitude has paid off for them. They're just willing to go into all of these projects and mint them and hope for the best, I suppose. I'm not a degen. I haven't really got that risk. I'm fairly risk averse. So being in this space as a risk averse person, it's like, oh, I've got to do all my due diligence and make sure that I'm making the right moves, especially after being stung quite heavily in that first main project that I took part in. So I mean, I suppose there is a big degen element to it. People who are looking for high risk, high reward, and they get the real buzz and excitement out of that. And it is a fast moving space. Stuff's changing all the time, and you really have to stay on your toes. So there is that. You got to be prepared for that. If you're only going to get involved in maybe one project and you're just focused on that one project, and it's a much easier pace. But if you're involved in multiple projects and you're trying to keep an eye on your portfolio of NFTs and who's where and what's what, and should I maybe think about trying to sell this now because this project doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere? Should I try and sell my NFT before the value drops too low, or do I hold on? There's a lot of that goes on in my head. Question 2 was the commonality and differences between NFT and auctioned art of great artists in history, like Picasso's paintings, for example. I think I covered that a little bit. It's there are obviously differences in that something is a physical object and the other thing is a digital object, but as far as collectibles go, people collect digital assets and some people collect collect real assets. And I do know that there are some artists that when you buy the digital asset, then you will receive a physical, either the physical original piece of art, or it might be a print or something, and the artist holds on to the digital one, the real one. And in some instances, when someone buys the digital version of the art, the artist burns the real one. So then only the digital version exists, and you are the owner of that the existing digital piece, and the actual real physical piece no longer exists because they've destroyed it. So there's different, some artists, do things differently with that. Number 3, it kind of ties in with what Fife asked a little bit. Is it compulsory to build a fan following before starting NFT art? I would say yes. You need an audience. It's a bit like anything, really. I could create some art right now, and if I don't have an audience, I don't have anyone to sell it to. So that's why a lot of NFT projects put so much focus into getting people into their Discord communities and getting people to follow them on Twitter. They put a lot of effort into that, and there are specialist companies. As soon as you start a project and you start a Discord or a Twitter, you'll be inundated with people who start contacting you and saying, hey, we help NFT projects, be seen. We can get you 10,000 new Twitter followers for X dollars or whatever. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're building, it's like in the real world, it's like people who've paid for Facebook likes and things like that. You're not necessarily building a good audience if you're buying your audience. You're just, that's not a genuine audience. So the projects that I've been involved in are the ones that I like the most, which is Ether Brews and Troopers. Neither of those projects paid for Twitter follows or people to join their Discord. Everything was done organically, just through slowly building up awareness, putting out posts and raising awareness and making connections and just slowly building up that way. Now, it takes a much longer time to build things up, but you're building up an audience of people who genuinely are interested in your project and your roadmap. And so the hope is then that, those people will all mint the NFTs when that launches. Now, with Troopers and Ether Brews, the mint was a slow process. It didn't, a lot of the very big hyped projects can sell out in minutes, just minutes, hours, minutes, just boom, they're gone because the hype is built up so much. But there are other projects where it doesn't sell out and it can take, it's a slow drip feed, a slow process of selling the NFTs or minting the NFTs. Troopers has now minted out the first collection, and they've actually minted out a second collection as well. They're now, further down the roadmap. Ether Brews are getting closer. They're doing a lot of work on Twitter. They're holding Twitter spaces. They're having giveaways and raffles, raising awareness. They're making connections with other projects, and they're slowly reaching their mint out stage as well. One thing which I forgot to mention, when you are buying and selling or minting NFTs, there is a fee. So you'll have the fee to buy, the NFT at whatever price it is or mint it is. There's what's known as a gas fee. So that's the fee that you will pay for the transaction to be verified and generated. And it's called a gas fee because basically that's where you hear about in the news as well. That's the energy that's being used to do that transaction, and it's called a gas fee. And sometimes those gas fees can be very expensive. Sometimes the gas fees can cost more than the actual NFT itself. And the reason that happens is that you can actually, the gas fee will kind of have a standard rate. So it's a bit like buying fuel. If you go to the fuel pump, there's a fee for whatever the fuel is worth at that time. But if there's a high demand for something and a scarcity of it, then, prices can go up. And it's like that with the gas fees. So the gas fees might be, let's say, $20. But if there's a project that lots of people want in on, and there's only so many NFTs to mint, what you can do is you can actually say, I'm willing to pay more in this gas fee in order to move up the queue to generate the transaction. So it means that you've got much more chance of getting the NFT. And so there are some people out there who want to get the NFT so much that they'll be willing to pay $200 in gas fees for a $100 NFT. Many people won't be willing to do that. So those people will get, they'll basically jump the queue, because the verification is basically done by people who own computers, or they have buildings with lots of graphics cards and stuff in them. That's where the transactions are done. And so obviously those people are going to say, yeah, I'll take more money and I will prioritize your transaction over Call, who's only willing to pay $20. So that leaves me at the back of the queue. And if by the time my transaction comes up, if there's no NFTs left to mint, then I don't get an NFT, plus that gas fee still gets used. So I'm actually $20 out for nothing. So that's something else that you need to be aware of, is the gas fees, and how much you want that NFT. Now, if you're in a project that's not really hyped out or anything, then you're probably going to be okay. You're going to be able to buy that NFT. And that sort of takes me back as well to the ones that do mint the NFT and then they make a quick flip. That's why some people are willing to pay a little bit more on the secondary market, because they probably felt, well, if I was going to try and mint this, I may have to pay more in gas fees in order to secure myself the NFT. So what I'm willing to do is I'm actually willing to pay just that little bit more and buy it off of the secondary market. That way I know that I'm going to get it. And so, there's different ways of working around this. The chats now. The chats, I've now got a lot of stuff to catch up on the chat. Let's see. So Fife's just saying the tech behind NFTs is really, really impressive, though it does seem a little bit scary with all the personal data implications. There isn't, you actually aren't giving away your personal data, really, because it's kind of all anonymous. The only, it's up to you whether you tell people your name and stuff when you join a community. Most people, when they join an NFT community, they have a Discord name. It's not their real name, and some people don't even ever give out their real names. But generally in the communities that I'm in, because everyone is trusting of one another, people, there's that term, dox themselves to one another, and they say, hey, my name's Call and I'm this and I'm that. For me, it was a no-brainer, really. I'm on YouTube and stuff. People can find out who I am. But for some people, they like the anonymity of it, and really, so your wallet address is just a string of numbers, and that's all that people would only ever know. If you didn't interact in the Discord, or you didn't interact on Twitter, and all you did was buy the NFT, all that anyone knows about you is that wallet address, which is a random string of numbers and letters and symbols. So there's no personal data. You're not giving out any personal data. It is anonymous. That's why it's so easy for some people to get, to be scammers, because they know that if they manage to get the money, then they can't be traced, because it's all anonymous. And so that's why it's so appealing to so many unscrupulous people to set up projects with the full intention of scamming people. And they will they will set projects up that look amazing. They will actually set up, an actual working project. They'll have the NFTs and that'll all be generated and stuff. But that might cost them, let's say it costs them $50,000 to do that. If they mint out a 10,000 collection, they're potentially going to make $2 million, and then they're just off with all of that money. So, there's a lot of money can be made in that space. But thankfully, as I say, there is a court case going through right now in the US with two guys that got caught, and maybe that will start to send some warning signals that you're not as safe as you think you are. You will get, if you're defrauding people of that kind of sums of money, the government is going to come after you in some way or another. Let's see. Courtney's saying, I have multiple artist friends who have had their art stolen and minted as NFTs. It's a headache to get it removed. The community seems toxic and focused more on making a profit than supporting artists. There is definitely that sort of stuff going on, Courtney. I don't think it's a toxic community. I think there is a toxic element to the community, but the communities that I'm in, none of that is there because it's not put up with. If anyone came in and was of that mindset, they get banned from the community. They're just not allowed in. 100%, there is an element out there that do that. There are people who have taken whole collections from the Ethereum blockchain, like NFT collections, and set them up on a different blockchain like Solana or the Crow blockchain and started selling it as a collection. How they think they were going to get away with that, I don't know. But, there was one recently that got found out on the Crow chain. And Kronos is quite small. The Crow chain community is quite small. I think there's only about 110 projects on that chain. That's minuscule compared to Ethereum, which has thousands and thousands and thousands. So it's still a small community. So we're able to kind of police ourselves a lot easier. So it's nothing like Ethereum. I would say if you were going to say toxic or not, yes, Ethereum certainly has a lot of toxicity in it. A lot of scammers, a lot of rug pulls. Solana is quite bad as well. Generally, if there's a lot of money somewhere, there's going to be more scammers. The Kronos chain is quite young, so it's not really in the scope yet. It's not worth their while to move into that space, but there are some little hints that have been creeping up in there. But because everyone is looking out for everyone else's back in that space, things are getting called out really quickly and it's getting shut down before anyone can kind of lose any money. But I'm really sorry to hear about your friends who are having, artwork stolen and minted as NFTs. By the same thing, it happens in the real world as well. People having their artwork stolen and copied. I mean, it happens in my industry. Logo designs are being copied and sold on, and then it's a headache to try to get all of that stuff done and removed. What I would say is that the places like OpenSea and Crypto.com and the one for the site for the Kronos chain, the main site for Kronos chain is Ebisus Bay, very close to kind of eBay, but it's Ebisus Bay. They are usually quite good if you contact them and report, fake or stolen NFT artwork. They will kind of pull them down. Sometimes it can take a little while. With OpenSea, it can take longer because they're so massive. And it just takes ages to get a response. But with Ebisus Bay, they've got quite an active team, and one of the things that they did when the project that was found to have ripped off the Ethereum project, that project had minted and people had bought the NFTs. Ebisus Bay closed down that project on their platform and they refunded everyone that minted, so no one lost out on any money. They all got their money back, which was great. That was a really good thing to happen there for them. Let's see. Trying to keep up with the chat here. Ross is just saying there is an element of that. Ross is saying, but this all being said, I do think there are some genuine people creating something new and interesting. Just a shame that it's being tarnished by toxic elements. Yeah. Um, don't even get me started. And Courtney's saying, don't even get me started on the eco-friendly ones that donate to offset carbon damage. The same logic as we'll have a baby for every person we kill. Eco-friendly guys. In theory, it's cool, but it's an execution is lacking. Ross is saying, depends on the blockchain. To be fair, Ethereum is heavily utilized, which is why it carries the higher gas fees and carbon. Yeah, there's a lot of headline stuff as well about the amount of energy that's used. There are Kronos Chain, Solana, Matic, they use a fraction of the energy that Ethereum currently uses. Ethereum is going to be moving to 2.0, which will use 99.9% less energy. And, it's just that even real money uses up a ton of energy. It's a lot of it is I'm not dismissing the fact that it uses energy, I'm not at all. But at the same time, it's not like everything else is good for the planet either. And I think there are leaps and bounds being made in the background on this technology that will see improvements in the space and in how energy is being used. I know that Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin probably won't ever change from its proof of work. So proof of work is when it needs a graphics card and a processor to crunch the massive numbers that are needed to be crunched in order to make that transaction happen. Whereas the other chains and Ethereum are moving to proof of stake, which is more of a software-based approach, which uses a lot less energy than the other ones. So that's Ross is away. He's not been feeling well today, but I really appreciate you coming on board. We are over the 2 hour mark. I just want to go check some of the other stuff that was asked of me by Koshal. His question 4 was, are NFTs a short-term trend, or will they become a new normal in the coming years? It's not a short-term trend. NFTs are here to stay. Where NFTs are right now, I would say, is probably version 1.0. I can fully see more and more things becoming NFTs. Passports, driving licenses, gig tickets will all become NFTs and be on the blockchain, mainly from the point of view of that sort of security of ownership, that you can't replicate it. You can't there's only one owner. And so I do see things like that becoming more mainstream. The reason that it isn't right now is because of that leap that you have to make to get into the space right now. But when you look at, the fact that Adidas, Nike, Disney, they're all getting into the NFT space. They're all starting to create NFT projects and collections. And so with those coming in, what they're going to do is they're going to start to bring in more interested members of, let's call them the general public, who are going to be curious, and ways and means will get developed to make the sign-up process easier, I'd imagine. Whether that means it's less secure, I don't know. But maybe there'll be ways that your smartphone can become a hardware ledger, like I have here. I don't know. I'm not sure I would want to have all of my stuff on my phone. I've got enough on my phone that if I lost my phone, it'd be a pain in the butt anyway. So I'm not sure I would want to have all of my cryptocurrency on there. But I don't think it's a short-term trend. I do believe it's here to stay. It's a bit like, when the internet came out and people said, the internet will never amount to anything. When Facebook came out, Facebook will never amount to anything. I think NFTs, even cryptocurrency is becoming more widely accepted. Apart from in China, obviously, who just banned all cryptocurrency. But I think, again, there are so many financial institutions who've invested in cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, that it's not going to go away. and I see the same for NFTs. I don't see that going away. How long it will take to become mainstream, I don't know, but I don't see it as being a short-term trend. And then question 5 was, what are the different types of NFT? Well, I think we've covered that. It can be, graphics, audio, video, basically anything that anything digital can become an NFT for the ownership, or anything that can be digitized can become an NFT and minted onto the blockchain. And he's got one last little note here. He says, I've never understood how art ends up in museums, how certain art gets auctioned at unbelievable prices. And we saw something similar with Beeple's art in the NFT setting. Yeah, it's humans. We're in some spaces we're illogical, and we just have this this strange fascination with collecting things. I've got a big comic book collection, and some of those are worth quite a lot of money. I don't collect them anymore. That was, they just happen to be worth money because when I collected them back in the 80s and 90s, I collected them because I liked reading them, but now they've actually become valuable. But I never collected comics as an investment for long-term value, but I just like collecting them. And other people like to collect high-end art, but there is, there's also the thing of, people saying that, people are saying NFTs are just used for money laundering, for people to kind of hide their, stop them from paying taxes and stuff. It's the same in the, traditional art world. That's why paintings and stuff can go for huge amounts of money, because it's people who are just locking away money rather than paying tax on their earnings. They're spending it on investments, and that they're helping to avoid paying taxes on it. So the more people, the richer people are buying expensive things from other rich people, then the values are going up on those. That's my take on it anyway, from that side of things. Is there anything else? So one of the last things I'll touch on is a lot of projects as well are setting themselves up as what are known as DAOs, DAO, and that stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And what that means is that there's no real kind of head, there's no board of directors. Everyone in the project has a say in the direction of the project. And a lot of NFT projects are now setting themselves up as these decentralized organizations. And if you own an NFT in that project, that gives you a vote on any decision that's made. So let's say the project says, right, okay, we were thinking about making a charitable donation to a specific, to a charity of some sort. We have, we can, if people want to nominate a charity, they can do, and and then everyone can vote on which one we should contribute to, or maybe it'll be like, or maybe we vote that we split the money and we contribute to two. And usually it's a case of, if you own one NFT, you get one vote. If you own two NFTs, you get two votes. So if you own more NFTs in that project, you have a bigger say in the voting and how the voting goes. So that could be slightly weighted. If you've got people who are, rich and can afford to buy a lot of the NFTs, then they're going to have, a fairly big say in that project. But, if they've invested more money than anyone else, then should they have more of a say in how they think that project should go forward because they've made more of an investment? That's another discussion that could be had. But I'll just read. I took this piece of text from a website, and it just says a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization that is powered by a type of artificial intelligence that's powered by smart contracts and blockchain technology. They're designed to be completely transparent, inviting everyone with an internet connection to take part in the process of decision making. Many newer NFT projects are DAO based. Your NFT gives you a vote in decisions. So, and more projects are doing that, so you have a real ownership in the project. You have a say in the decisions and the route that the projects will take through their roadmap. So it might be that when the project launches, they have roadmap version 0.1, which is a fixed roadmap in order to get things going. And then at the start of roadmap 2, or at the end of roadmap 1, it might be we will institute the DAO, and then the DAO gets instituted, and then from that point on, all of the decisions in that NFT project are made by the entire community rather than the person who started up the project. And that's quite appealing to a lot of people when it comes to NFTs. And the last thing that I've got there is to basically do your own research. Like I say, I've been chatting here for nearly 2.5 hours. My voice is going, and there's been a lot to say, a lot to kind of get across. It's been 6 months. I've experienced a ton in the space. I find it very exciting. I do, as Courtney has said, there's been some real downsides when you can see some real shitty people in the space who are just there to rip people off. That's it. They're just there to rip people off. But I've also, on the other side of that, especially in the troopers community, seen people who have suffered losses, whether that's monetary losses or other types of losses, and the community's come together and supported these people, whether that be through donating money to help them recoup their losses or just be there to support them through troubling times. And that, there's that thing of there is still a good side to humanity, no matter what's going on in the world. There's so many bad things going on, but there is still that good side, and I'm experiencing that through some of these communities that I'm part of, and that's what I'm loving about the space. And as from the professional side of it, from a designer side of it, and someone who's really interested in brand strategy, I've learned a lot in terms of, what makes these projects kind of, I can see how they're building their brand awareness and what strategies that some of them are using. Some of them work, some of them don't. And it's just like, traditional stuff. It's just like, they're building brands. Every NFT project is brand building, and they need to use all of the tools that are available to normal businesses who are brand building. It's just that they're in a much kind of more leading edge technical space. And so there's new ways of kind of doing things and approaching things. But, if a client came to me tomorrow and said, hey, we want to start an NFT, or we want to have NFTs, my question would be why? Why do you want to do it? Because I think most of them would probably want to do it because it's the new cool thing. But if there's no benefit to the brand other than being seen to have an NFT, then I would probably say no. Plus, I think in most people's minds, in the general public's minds, NFTs are bad. I think that's the majority. I think through what people have seen in the news headlines and newspaper headlines, NFTs are bad. It's just scams, and it's destroying the planet. And I just don't think there's enough information out there yet about what NFTs really are, and how they can be good, and what they can do to offset a lot of the negative aspects, which are what people kind of hear about first. And it happens, when I'm out in the pub, the conversation will turn to NFTs and stuff. And then I'm having a conversation with someone who really doesn't get it. They are very much like, I can have the JPEG on my phone and I own it. And then I'm trying to have conversations with them. Usually, everyone's had a few drinks, so it's not a sober conversation. And so it can be quite difficult to have those conversations. But I just know from those experiences that most people have this headline news version of what NFTs are, rather than actually seeing what they can be and what many of them are trying to do. But yeah, there is that. negative side to it, which isn't great. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm sure I'm going to end this stream and go, damn it, I wished I'd spoken about that. Let me just quickly check. I think that's most things. If you've managed to understand anything and maybe be a little bit more, aware of what NFTs are, brilliant. That was my only goal, was to try to sort of open up the doors a little bit to make people aware that it is more than the news headlines, but also to say that you do need to be careful when you're getting into the space, and you need to be aware. And I've just remembered what the last thing is actually. So many of you, if you're designers and stuff, will probably heard of Jacob Cass. So Jacob Cass, his business is called Just Creative, and I've been following Jacob for a long time. I think Jacob started his business in 2007, or graduated in 2000. I can't remember exactly, but he's really well known for his his blog posting, blogs for finding the best equipment, the best software, tips for designers, all that stuff. Well, I had a call with Jacob a couple of weeks ago, and about NFTs. He's been getting into the NFT space, and he'd been speaking to Stephen Hurahan, who's from Brandmaster Academy, and I'm in Stephen's course, and it's a great course. And he'd been speaking to Stephen, and Stephen had mentioned that I'd been involved in NFTs for a few months now, trying to figure stuff out, find my way around. And so we had a quick chat, and I'm pretty sure Jacob won't mind me mentioning it. But Jacob is with a bunch of other people, is starting up his own NFT project called The Forest. And I'm probably not going to get this exactly right, but the core of it is The Forest is going to be an NFT project to help designers and artists figure out the NFT space. So they will help educate designers and artists on how to create NFTs, how to set up an NFT project so that they can sell, their NFTs, and then they will also, they won't just then walk away. There will be continuing sort of community around that. So the Forest's main goal really is to help support creatives in that space. The domain name for that, I'm just going to type it into the email spot here. Actually, no, I can type it into the chat, can't I? I'll type the domain name into the chat. So the domain name is HTTPS. Just in case you're interested, it hasn't fully launched yet. Basically, you can put your email address into here, and then they'll send you information when the project launches fully, which I think isn't that far off. I just want to make sure because it's a strange domain name. So I've typed that into the chat. So it's thefo.rest. So it's the forest, but there's a dot after the FO. And from speaking to Jacob and kind of listening to what the project's all about, I think it's a really exciting thing that he's starting, and I think it's something that's needed. I think there are many creatives who are interested in getting into the space, but as Courtney's mentioned, there's a lot of artists who are being ripped off, who are having their work just taken and turned into NFTs and minted and sold, and a bit of a nightmare. So I'm pretty sure, I know that Jacob said he's got people involved who are very experienced in the NFT space, and some good investors as well to back the project. So I'm really, really interested in seeing where this goes, and I am following it with keen eyes. I think if you're interested in the space, it might be a good idea for you to follow with interest as well. So I knew there was something that I was probably going to forget and kick myself. So and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I gave a shout out to Jacob's new project. So we're coming up for the 2.5 hour mark. Nushka's saying it was a lot since I didn't know anything about it, not even crypto, but it was very interesting. Yeah, it's a lot to take in. It really is. I'm pretty sure we'll have more continuing conversations in the Rocky Brand Discord around NFTs. And I'll be on hand to answer anybody's questions about NFTs in the Discord. So yeah, thank you so much for joining tonight and hanging out and listen to me try to condense 6 months of stuff and learning into, you know, a 2.5 hour live stream. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that's taken part and given, you know, asked questions and given their own experiences, because it adds to the conversation and really helps flesh it out and gives different experiences from everyone who's touched the space in any way. So yeah, so before my voice entirely gives out, I will say thank you again. Thanks for joining the live stream. Join the Discord if you haven't already. And until I see you next time, stay creative, folks. Bye for now.